Welcome to the State of Scandal podcast. I'm Sarah Caldwell.
And I'm Maricela Gonzalez.
Okay, so let's just start off about the finale. I asked you this already, but how much do you hate yourself for not watching it live?
I'm alright. I'm a bit, the surprises were pretty shocking, and which is silly because they shouldn't be, and nothing should be shocking anymore.
Exactly.
Like, they've literally done everything, but I was still surprised that they went to the lengths of killing off the son.
Yeah, like,
that shocked me.
I would count myself as, like, a pretty good guesser of, like, what's to come on a show, and I had no idea, and I was genuinely surprised. But I also, like, didn't have it ruined. I think I could have not had it. Like, did you have it ruined?
No, and I'm really happy. Actually, I almost got it ruined that I thought Harrison was going to die because someone put something stupid on Tumblr.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was silly since they really didn't give him a lot to do this season, despite the whole Adnan subplot.
Yeah,
there's so much more for him, so it's just like, he would not have been let go. Like, he has much more to do in his contract.
I think that's fair. I also think, like, I, like, put this in my recap, like, this, I don't think I even mentioned that Adnan died because, like, beautiful character, like, good actress, but, like, she had nothing to do. I didn't, like, ever know what she was about. Like, I still don't know what their backstory is. Like, all I know is that they like to have sex, but I have no idea. Anything else about their backstory?
Well, she's like a feminist terrorist or something.
Yeah.
And, he helped her, and then he got caught for only the money stuff, when really it was, like, more than that. But we don't know, like, what kind of terrorism she did.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. What is a feminist terrorist?
Well, when they had the other lady talking about leaning in and working with Maya Wallace, it's just like...
And she got killed. Like, she got killed so fast.
Right away.
She was so beautiful. I was really sad that she died because I was like, I like her hair. I like her, like, attitude, being like, we gotta lean in. Like, I liked her general, like, stick. And then she was like, no, instantly dead. One thing, okay, so there's two things that you mentioned in, like, your email to me that I want to bring up before we, like, really get into the finale, which is, one, you said, when did Quinn decide to start calling it OPA, which is so true. Like, I want to, like, say that sometimes shows do this thing where they, like, to make it seem like they've established something, they just say it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And I felt like in the episode before this, they said, like, it's 6 days before the election, so many times, and I was like, just because you're saying that doesn't make it so. Like, I had no idea what the timeline was. And I kind of feel like, as much as, like, I guess this is dumb of me, because, like, obviously you pick a vice presidential candidate late in the game, I kind of feel like I thought that there was so much more election stuff to come. Like, they only had one debate, but then they were just like, nope, 6 days away. So I thought that was funny that you said that about OPA.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the reason for the shortened election was because of the shortened season.
Oh, that's true.
So I'm sure, sorry, I'm, like, eating corn muffin. But
no
I'm sure that they would have done more if they were able to. Although, the timeline for this entire season was very weird and, like, haphazard. Because it was before the election, and then it was like, oh, now we're during the election process. And then, now 6 days. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's so funny. So
I hate the name OPA, and Jake said it, like, a couple times in the season finale. I'm just like, stop.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to make it sound real. Maybe it's just for the t-shirts. Maybe they're just like, we gotta get these OPA t-shirts off our back.
Totally. And they also make it sound like a boring, like, government department. And it's just like, no. It's Olivia Pope and Associates, so get it right.
Yeah, and that sounds so much better. Yeah, it does sound like a government department. I think that's what they're trying to, like, get across. That it's, like, a great department. But, incorrect. Okay, so let's start talking about this red herring bomb that, like, I mean, as much as bomb episodes disappoint me, I was just like, what? This is nothing?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want Andrew to die because I actually really like his character,
Mm-hmm.
but I did want Sally to die,
Oh
and
my god.
I didn't care about anyone else, which I guess like makes Cyrus almost part of, like, an audience surrogate, which is awful because he's like
The devil.
terrible. Yeah,
Terrible. I
and
feel.
then
Oh, go
they
ahead.
let it go off, and was like, oh, all right.
When that happened, I really liked, I actually they thought the opening was really good because I love the turn of events where, like, it went from being this thing where, like, she was gonna die to, like, she was obviously gonna win the election. I'm
Yeah,
still really mad that, like, they've established that her character could win an election that, like, the entirety of America has not figured out that she is a literal insane person.
murder.
Like,
Yeah, and like actually, like more than a murderer, she's insane.
yeah, like literally
Yeah,
insane. Okay, because I actually mentioned this in like I like recapped it, and I mentioned that she like totally was on board when Leo. Okay, so I could accept that she was on board that like she was gonna try to like milk this like bomb attack for everything it was worth, but then
right.
when Leo goes be Jesus, she super was fine with it, and like what a
Because she
religious
thinks
person.
she is. She thinks she is.
Okay, I guess she thinks she is. I just feel like, would a religious person really be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna compare myself to Jesus? I don't know. I felt like
I
that
mean,
felt really
that's
sacrilegious of her.
that's valid, but I think she's so unhinged
Okay.
that almost anything goes with her.
Yeah, and she does say, like, let Jesus flow through me. Like, that's why she thought that,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I
Like
guess she's just an
and like
insane person.
she literally thought like she thinks the devil actually possessed her when she killed her husband.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh, she is a. The thing is that like I was also thinking like up until this point because the title was "The Price of a Free and Fair Election," right?
Right.
And I think that like up into what the episode ended up being, which was more of like a family drama, I really was gonna like ask like, does watching this at all like disconcert you because you're like, is this what like politics are? Like obviously not on this level, but obviously
Yeah.
not at all on this level, but just that like people get so corrupted and so like turned around, and also that like the American people are completely in the dark about things, like
Right.
actively like an election was stolen and no one is gonna know about it, like
No one is ever gonna know. Yeah. I mean, this is awful to say, but like as a poli sci major, I kind of that's what I liked about politics is just how much of a game it is and
mhm.
how not like real it is. But I think that it's not a good thing, but it's the reality. And if you embrace that, then you can enjoy watching the crazy because politics really are crazy. Not
Mhm.
like murderers all everywhere, but just making little moments into something that they're totally not. And like having their Jesus moment, like every politician wishes they had their Jesus moment,
That's
like
fair.
regardless of what side of the aisle they are.
I guess that's true. Regardless of how religious they are, they want their Jesus moment.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Who
I
doesn't?
who
Who
does it?
doesn't
Yeah,
want a
it's true.
Jesus moment?
Fair enough. I actually think that like the moment when Olivia was like talking to all those reporters and Sally was gonna go on the camera was like the most
Yeah,
compelling television, and also like great
absolutely.
classic Olivia Pope.
I'm looking at a split screen, Tracy. Why the hell am I looking at a split screen? The election has nothing to do with it. This is a national crisis. You don't put the president of the United States on a split screen. Fancy. Tracy, hold on. Jim, the country wants to hear from their president. Who cares what the other ends are doing? You're a news organization. Act like it. Split screen makes him look like some talking head on a Sunday morning news show. Oh, we got a full screen. That did not just happen, Annie. Annie, you dropped the
I read EW's recap and they were talking about how it was so like they were such monsters for like explaining this tragedy, but I was like, no, this is like classic Olivia Pope. Like this is her
Yeah,
at her best because she's been like kind of like she's been doing things this season, but I like the best Olivia Pope is when she's just like handling things, and I thought that that was
right.
such a good scene.
When she's doing her job and like fixing it, and not just because her like the love of her life like needs her help,
Oh my
but
gosh.
she's doing her job.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I loved that too.
okay, so then what happened was she went to go see her father in the hospital.
Yeah.
I was glad that I am okay. So I don't want to like peek too early, but I'm really mad about the twist that happened in this episode because I actually like really like Joe Morton. Oh, this is a thing that you said that I like really noticed in this scene, about how the speech pattern of like the different characters, and I loved.
Have the same one. Like, I love it, but it's always the same.
This is what I think about that happened with Joe Morton. I feel like he, like, early on was like, okay, this is going to be my speech pattern for this character. This is not going to be a character that lasts a lot of, like, episodes. And then he did that great monologue with Fitz where he was like, tell you what I'm gonna tell. It's gonna sound so bad for me to imitate it. But then, like... But then, like, I feel like he now realizes that he has to do that, like, speech pattern even when he's not building to anything dramatic, and it just sounds ridiculous.
Well, yeah, it was hilarious when he's, like, in the hospital bed and he's wheezing, but he's still doing the same dramatic speech pattern.
I liked it because it sounded like what it would be, though. Like, I feel like, because he was, like, quiet, but still doing it. Like, he was like, this is what... I can't do it correctly, but I did like that he was like quieter about it, but it was still the pattern.
It was still the same, yeah.
I think that the next big scene that we can talk about is when Olivia tells Fitz that she doesn't want to go make jam with him, that Olivia was raped. I mean, that Melly was raped.
Melly was raped. Yeah, by Big Jerry.
Yeah, that's the next big scene. I guess there's a scene with Quinn and Huck having sex, but let's just ignore that.
Oh my god.
Let's just pretend
That's why you were talking about it.
Let's pretend it doesn't happen. So I actively felt like this was not Olivia's story to tell at all. And I kind of, it like really turned me off that she would tell. Like, I guess that she's like pretty calculating, but not in a like cruel way. And she was like defending Melly because he was like, oh, Melly's such a bitch. And then I guess this is gonna be an explicit podcast, but
that's alright.
But it wasn't her story to tell, right? Like that was inappropriate of her.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because it's just been such an issue, and she realizes that that's the turning point in Fitz and Melly's relationship. So, and then maybe this is just at the core of it is just like a selfish impulse to be like, oh, well, if he really does love me, I'm going to tell him the truth about his marriage, and, like, he's going to fix stuff with his wife, and after that, he's still going to want me.
That's interesting. I don't know. I felt like...
Which is not cool, but, like, I see that, because I think this season, especially, she's really been confronted with how almost pathetic her relationship with Fitz is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just coming from his wife, it's coming from her mom and from even herself, and realizing just like, geez, this is like not healthy, and this is not really who I want to be, but I'm still in love with him. Like, how do I fix that? If you can.
Yeah. That's fair to say, like, that they can, like, dream as much as they want about Vermont and making jam, but, like, they need to solve the issues that they have with their, like, with his significant other before they go and do that. And with his general, like, behavior towards her. I accept that. I still was, like, very turned off by it. Like, I think that because it's just, like, Melly has kept this a secret for 20 years, or however many years, for a reason. 15 years. Yeah. She, like, screamed it. But I did think that the scene with Fitz and Melly was pretty lovely and, like, understated for Scandal, which is really interesting.
Yeah. I like Fitz and Melly's quiet moments because they know each other so well, regardless of how they feel about each other romantically. They just have, like, they don't need to talk to each other because they already know. And I like that.
And I also like that in terms of, like, the pacing of this episode, because I felt like it, like, slowed it down, and it's because it's such a fast episode. Oh,
totally.
So I liked Abby. I feel bad for Abby. I really feel like Abby's a good character, and they're not using her as much as they should.
She's awesome. And she's really come into her own, and, like, she's been really good this season, but there's totally not enough of her.
And hopefully next season, she'll like show up more.
I
Oh,
think she'll definitely help Rosen with taking down B613
David
because
is
she especially hates um, Papa
Papa
Pope,
Pope.
whatever his name is.
Rowan, Papa Pope. They
Rowan
just call him
or
Command. That's the
Eli.
thing. I had
Doesn't he
to
have like 1,000 names? I don't
Eli.
understand.
That's true. I had to like look up what his name was because I would just consider him like Dad Pope or Command. And like
Right.
Maya's like Maya Marie. Yeah, they had a lot of
Maria,
names.
yeah,
That's
like,
totally
shut
fair.
up, stop.
um,
But yeah, I think she especially hates him, especially for um, now Olivia's gone and he's responsible. So I think she's definitely going to help Rosen take down B613.
that'll be good because that will give her like a central thing to do. Because I like her a lot. I like how she like. I think she's like little mini Olivia, but she's a little more like firecrackery than Olivia.
Yeah.
And so I think that she could be utilized a lot better. Okay, so I don't. This scene was so small, but I just want to talk about it because when Leo comes into Cyrus's office and is like gloating, and Cyrus just looks like so sad. I just wanted to, because I just thought it was so funny that like it's the perfect example of like how it's when it's annoying to gloat because you like just want to gloat, but if someone's just really sad, you can't really be like.
You like can't, and not even he can.
Not even he. Yeah, he's so slimy and he even can't. Okay, so I am kind of glad they brought this. I don't know how I feel about Huck, but I'm glad that they brought his lost family back.
Yes.
I thought that
I'm
was
so happy.
Because that was such an unresolved thing, and I was like, they might never resolve this. Like, they might just be like, nope, he's never gonna find out about it. Or not find out, but, like,
Or
deal
like
with it.
follow through on reconnecting with them. Yeah.
And as soon
I
as...
was so happy.
I was so happy, and as soon as Charlie showed that folder, like, I knew it was coming.
You
like,
knew it. Yeah, totally.
And
totally.
I like that they didn't drag it out. I like that Quinn just told him. Okay, so I actually used to be a really big Quinn and Huck fan, and now it's just, like, so gross that I... like, can't even
Quinn told him that she loves him. That was a big moment, and he totally didn't even react to that.
Well, he's like, I mean, he's so messed up that there's no...
I know.
That's true, though. She did say, like, I love you, and he was just like,
I love
nope.
you, so I want you to know. And it's just like, oh, shit. That's, like, not just doing funny stuff in the parking garage anymore.
Yeah, it's like a serious relationship.
Yeah.
And I so, like, with Huck and Quinn, I really wanted, like, thought that they were a good relationship because I thought that she would make Huck softer and, like, fall in love, and he would,
No.
and he would make her, like, tougher, but nope, not at all. Like,
they just make each other crazier.
Exactly. I don't like their relationship at all. And actually, I was gonna say, like, I'm just gonna tease this now, like, because we're gonna go over the other seasons eventually, like the previous 3, and I feel like they initially and like still kind of started off with like a very interesting idea for Quinn, where it's just like this person who sees this like immaculate creature of Olivia Pope and is like, no, like she's bad. She actively does things that destroy people. Even in the pilot, even like she's so in awe of the Olivia Pope and Associates, but then she's also like, I just watched Olivia destroy this person. Like, what are my mixed feelings about that?
Yeah,
and
like
I
like in a negative sense as well.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, and I like now, but like it's just gone so off the rails because I actively think that that's like a good character to have on the show, a character who like is really like not having what Olivia like is doing, but also actively like loves Olivia and wants to help her, but still like fights her on what she's doing. And I guess that's also David, but Quinn is like inner circle, so it's a little different. But they have I just do not like where they have headed with her character.
Well, I don't think they knew what to do with her because she was just there, and she was just like, she wasn't active enough to be interesting for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then once she got interesting, she got weird. And then now it's just like super weird.
Oh, it's so weird. And Huck is so weird. I feel like Huck was also not as weird as this. I still like him, but
Huck is like, what I like about what they've done with Huck is that he keeps saying like, oh, he's like not a good guy and he's done so many bad things, blah blah blah. And for a long time you thought like, oh, he's, like, wounded. He was, like, an assassin, but, like, whatever. But, like, no. He's done really bad stuff. He continues to do bad stuff and is very weird, but you still like him. So I think his warnings about himself were valid, which I think with a lot of other shows when they're like, oh, well, I don't even want to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but when he says, like, Ward says he's a bad guy, and then that kind of follows through, but it doesn't. On this show, it definitely follows through. He's not a good guy.
I do like that now on TV shows, people just say, like, I'm a bad guy. Like, there's no subtlety. Like, I've been watching The Vampire Diaries. I, like, caught up on a bunch of it, and, like, the character in that just actively is like, I'm a bad guy. You're bad for me. But they just say it constantly. And so I like
every other scene.
Every other scene, just to, like, establish... I love when people establish their character traits by just saying. Okay, so you might disagree with me on this. I feel like we have, like, very different Olivia and Fitz feelings.
Okay.
So, well, one, she called him the best politician in the game, which is a joke, because he has never won I guess he won the, like, governor election, but he never has won an election by himself. But when Fitz is like, you know, there's right before the big scene with the son, Fitz is like preparing to do this speech and calls Olivia and says, you know, we can't go to Vermont now because I need to stay with Melly. And I really did not like this because I was like, no, you guys can go to Vermont. And so I feel like that might seem a little cold on my part, but they don't, like, I felt like finding out about this thing about Melly, this horrible thing that happened to her, was like their closure, that they realized that, like, their relationship has been so broken and this, like, terrible thing happened to Melly, and that's what's kind of started this wedge between them. The politics was, like, a huge part of the wedge, this infidelity, all the lies, like, Melly and Fitz are never gonna get back to their, like, original relationship where they did love each other.
I think they're thinking rationally and like a real person, and I don't think they think like real people, or at least they don't think with a sound mind, unlike you. I feel like where Fitz is coming from, and at least where Fitz is coming from the perspective of Olivia, is that he's the unattainable guy, and he might love her, but he's never gonna be with her. And there's just gonna be excuse after excuse after excuse that seem valid, that might be valid, but it's just never going to happen. It's just like classic, like, mistress syndrome.
Yeah, that's interesting. But do you think Olivia...
It's tragedy, but that's how I saw it. Just like, oh God, Fitz has just one more excuse not to leave his wife.
Okay, so you kind of saw it similarly to me. I can talk. I felt like Olivia also was like, yeah, you know, that makes sense. Like, Olivia really did not push back on it, and I thought she should have, because I feel like
she totally should have.
And I feel like also, like, it's bad to Melly too. Like, I actively really like Melly, which, like, gets me in trouble.
I love Melly. I've always loved Melly.
I've always loved Melly.
He's such a great character and so, like, complex and amazing.
She's great.
She's a vision.
I think she's so, like, because, yeah, she's so complex. She's so, like, power hungry, but also, like, emotional. And I actually, like, really liked in the last episode when it was Olivia who she told the story to about her being raped, because I thought that she, like, and Olivia have this, like, very weird relationship, but also, like, they're so connected too. Like, they have kind of, like, they both are, like, really, you know, in the game of politics, but they're just so removed from it too, because they're not ever gonna be president. I have, like, a spec script that I wanted to write where Melly runs for president, like, but it's just fan fiction, but you know what I mean.
I mean, I think Olivia would help her in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I think their relationship is, like, if there were any other circumstances regarding Fitz, like, if Melly wasn't married to Fitz and Olivia wasn't in love with him, I think they would be great friends.
Exactly.
I really do.
Exactly. Oh, man, that's the show I want to watch. I thought they were going to maybe do a time jump. At this point in the episode, I was like, oh, maybe they'll do a time jump. And then, okay, a hilarious thing happened, followed by a thing that, like, legit made me cry. This is, like, the second time I've cried on the show. I mean, not this episode, in the show in general.
I cry all the time.
You cry all the time? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough. I may be heartless, but but okay. The funny thing that happened, which I want to like see if you noticed this, when so Olivia hangs up the phone, she and then they do the weirdest shot that I've ever seen in Scandal, like so not Scandal, where they do a quick pan to Maya being in the hospital room with Rowan. And it's like so fast, which is like not at all a Scandal thing, and it's like makes a like ridiculous noise. It's like, whoosh, and then you see Maya Pope, and it's really comical.
I did not notice that at all.
Okay, it's hilarious. Everyone should go back and watch that 2 seconds because it's really comical. It's really like not Scandalesque, but like because it like reveals Mama Pope, but it does it with like a really weird sound
like
effect.
Whip sound, like, oh shit!
It's like, oh shit, there she is. And
that's amazing.
And Maya Pope is like really selling the like I did this for you, baby. So then you do really feel when Jerry. I actually like. I thought that was such a beautiful little scene with like the whole family, and it made me really sad. Like just the scene in general when you saw like the 2 kids talking to Fitz, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, you're gonna lose Dad." Like I thought it was really sweet. And then,
like because they were in a good place for once.
Yeah.
I actually really wanted to see their interview all together, and we didn't get to see that after that build-up.
Yeah, I felt like that was weird because they clearly faked it really well, but
yeah,
we didn't. Yeah, that I was kind of annoyed that we didn't get to see that, or at least like a part of it.
Yeah,
especially since little Jerry seemed to be so like political. But then disaster strikes, and little Jerry starts bleeding blood. Bleeding blood. No one bleeds me. No one makes me bleed my own blood.
Well, like blood starts rushing down his nose, and then it's just all downhill from there.
All downhill from there. When he he has like a big spurt of it. I thought this was also like a played up pretty quietly.
He coughed it up.
Yeah, he coughs it up like everyone in a movie with consumption, and then. And then I thought this was played pretty quietly though. Like even though it like was a big moment, I thought that it was so shocking because of how like suddenly, but also how like just like you're like what? And then when Melly called out the Fitz, that was the moment that I was just like I started crying because I was like this is too much. I can't handle this.
Yeah, that was really bad.
How quickly after this happened did you realize that this was gonna mean that he was gonna win the election?
Right away.
Okay, yeah, me too.
As soon as he coughed up blood, it was like, oh, he's winning now.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that.
Does that mean we're also monsters? Because that's the first thing that we thought of.
That's what I said in my recap. I was like, because we're all complicit in Scandal's sins, we all knew it. Like, and we're all monsters. Yeah, I think we're monsters. Well, I mean, they're fictional characters, so we can kind of be better. We could not.
Right.
Have to feel bad about it.
Not actually dead. It's okay. But yeah, I think that turns it around on the audience where it's just like, now you got what you wanted, and now a child is dead because of you. It's like, no, I just want to live tweet and be happy.
I know, that's the thing is that I like usually have a lot of fun like recapping the like crazy Scandal things, but I was like, this episode really made me feel bad. Like I felt genuinely sad about what was happening. And then there's this lovely little scene with Olivia and Cyrus where they talk about being monsters. And I mean, I think Olivia is a monster in many regards, and like has moved away from having the white hat and has become like too cynical. But she is no Cyrus. She is.
Oh yeah.
Like that would be. I'm trying to think of like.
She doesn't put a hit on her loved one multiple times.
Oh yeah, multiple times.
Multiple times.
I'm trying to think of like an equivalent. Like, have you ever had a conversation with someone where like they're talking about being bad, but you're like, you're so much worse than me. Like, I feel like it was kind of comical in the way that it was like, remember how that one time you like did something a little bad, like cheated on your diet, and it's like, oh yeah, remember how you tried to kill someone? It's like things like that. Like it's like two just very, but they are monsters, and I like the scene because it like made Olivia realize Oh, and then this kind.
How she's like self-aware to all the bad things she's done in the name of doing something good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a good moment for her, and a good kind of turning point for her too. Um, so Jerry died of bacterial meningitis, which 2 weeks ago on Mindy Project was a very minor plot point.
Oh my god.
Did you think about that at all? I was like, they could have died.
I didn't even. Well, I guess that's why they were in the hospital. But like in that, they just like read Bridget Jones' diary, and then the son of the president dies and coughs up blood all over everything. Oh my gosh.
Sufficiently less Bridget Jones. Okay, so then Rowan. Oh, I actually really like Skeevy Tom, but then so Rowan says that he will kill.
You like Skeevy Tom?
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Is that
the Social Security guy? I mean, so not Social Security, secret agent guy.
Oh, yeah, the Secret Service guy.
Secret Service, yeah.
Yeah, I like him too, but I don't like that he killed a kid.
That was terrible. Anyway, we're peeking, but I was just thinking about that because then Fitz finds out that this episode was really good for Fitz because I felt like he was just so subdued and like so sad the whole episode, and it made me like him more because I liked that he was like actively like genuinely sad about what was happening.
About his son dying? Yeah.
Well, I know, but I mean, they've literally never seen their kids.
I know, that's true.
My mom watches Scandal with me, and when the kids came on, she was like, "They have kids." And I was like, "Yep, they're never mentioned. They are."
And not just America's baby.
Not just the baby, Teddy. The scene with Melly was pretty. Melly and Fitz, where they were talking about like Jerry was, I think, pretty heartbreaking too.
Yeah.
I thought that was wonderfully acted. I really think that Bellamy Young should be nominated for supporting actress. I think she's so good.
Absolutely.
And I would. The thing about Joe Morton for like some like guest star is that he was so good in that one episode where he like told off Fitz, and now that he's been on for so long, you're like, oh, maybe he wasn't as good in that episode.
I love him, and I love him his same speech pattern and all. I think he's a great character, and I think it's just really cool to see someone put Olivia in her place the way Olivia puts everyone in their place.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that he has that function, but I can never trust him. And I the entire season I thought he was working with the mom just to bring down the president in some sort of way.
Oh, that's
and then
interesting.
He'll bring down her. But I guess that's almost what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're like pretty close to what. That's pretty close to what happened. I think I would give that a pretty good guess in terms of like plot points. Okay, so Olivia.
Oh wait, but the scene that really killed me this episode that like pretty much made me cry was when Fitz is like really cold and calmly talking about what happened to Jerry to Olivia.
You're not your mother. It's not your fault. I know better than anyone, but I'm responsible for the sins. I need to go check my family. I don't hold it against you. I don't blame you. I need to go check my family. No, we're not responsible for the sins for Pierce. You're not your mother. It's not your fault. Your fault. I need to go check on my family.
That killed me because he's like, and now I have to go check on my family. And it's just like his family, and she's not part of it. And that really was heartbreaking for me.
Yeah, and like not only is she part of it, she like actively thinks her family like was responsible for it. I feel like doing this podcast I'm realizing like what my awkward speech patterns are, and I don't like it. It's like, what do I say a lot? You know when you like write and you like look back and you're like, why did I use this adjective so much? I'm realizing that with this podcast.
It's the first one. It's okay.
It's okay. It's our first one.
Yeah. Good.
But yeah, that was a good scene, and that was one of the scenes that was like classic Scandal too in terms of like the cut shots where it was just like and with the camera. So I felt like that scene was really devastating for Olivia. She looked so sad.
Yeah.
That was a good scene.
Because he keeps repeating, "It's not your fault. I don't blame you," when she feels the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he does too, which is
Yeah,
what really hurts.
you don't know if he does too. I kind of feel like he doesn't, but he could. She doesn't
He
know.
could.
Then comes the moment. Oh, okay. Then comes the moment when Olivia decides, like, I'm over it. Like, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna go run off in the sun.
In the plane.
In the plane. And also this now comes a moment where two adults use the word daddy, and I was just like, ugh, gross. Abby says, go run to daddy. I think that, like, the Abby Olivia relationship is really interesting and great, and they should explore their backstory a little bit more because, in season 4, because, like, Olivia kind of, like, was super shady to Abby last season when she did that whole thing about her being abused, but she also saved her from being abused, so I just feel like they should go into their friendship more. Because I like that Abby was real, like, no, you can't leave. Like, this is not who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And
I think if they do that, though, then they might have to show what's-his-face from season 1.
Who's that?
Her bestie. That's just, like, from Lost.
Yeah, R.I.P. Desmond on this show. His name's Henry Ian Cusick, something like that.
Yeah,
I'm really...
The hot British Latino guy.
He was so hot, and I'm so bummed he's not on the show anymore. He left right before it got, like, really big.
Really good, yeah, and really big.
So he should just come back, and they like played it like he, like, just went off and got married or something, so, like, he can just come back. It's not a big deal.
NBD.
I think that, and if they killed Harrison, I mean, we'll get to it. I know that we keep mentioning it, but then not talking about it. But if they killed Harrison, like, he could come back. He could be the other character that is, like, at that agency now.
OPA.
But then, OPA, oh gosh. So Olivia says, one of the best lines to be delivered with such sincerity when she says, I'm the scandal.
It's me. I'm the thing that needs to be fixed. I'm the thing that needs to be handled. I'm the scandal. And the best way to deal with the scandal is to shut it down.
It's so good. It's like, you gotta say the title of the show at least once in your show. And, like, they talk, I feel like the thing is that they say fix it a lot, they say handled a lot. They don't say, like, this is a scandal a lot. No. So it was kind of Carrie watching is so good that I wasn't, like, taken out because of it, but I still was kind of like, this is ridiculous.
Only her could say it in a way that feels natural. Anyone else would have been like, points my fingers at the camera. That's the name of the show.
It's a scandal. What a scandal. Yeah, I felt like, what was I gonna say about that? I felt like that was a really great scene, though, in terms of the fact that, like, she has just gone so far away from who she wanted to be and wearing this white hat that she just is like, I'm the thing that needs to be fixed. Because, like, to be fair, like, she's not, like, there's obviously people just have a lot of problems, but a lot of them do stem from her relationships. So she's not, like, entirely wrong. But
no, she isn't. I mean, everything, like, all the people that are doing whatever they're doing, they're all connected to her.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, like, scenes in previous episodes where Cyrus didn't know who Abby was, when we're like, oh, well, obviously that's Abby. Like, don't you know what Abby is? But, like, no, Olivia is the tie.
Oh, that's true. That's really interesting. That's completely true, though. Like, yeah, Olivia's the, like, person that ties everyone together. There's no reason that he would know Abby. Even though Abby's the best, and they were so mean to her. I was like, stop being mean to Abby! I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Gabby. Okay, so she's packing apart. Jake tells her, okay, so people, have you ever, like, gone deep dives into the Scandal fandom? Because the Scandal fandom is kind of weird, and, like,
well, they hate Jake.
They hate Jake. And so this is not, like, so I think Olivia said that the ending would, like, break Twitter, and I actively, like, wasn't that, like, I didn't care that much about the ending. I thought it was, like, fine and interesting, but, like, I think it's because the fandom hates Jake so much, and he was like, let me come with you. And I really feel like she should have just had Abby come with her, because they're best friends. And if they could just be on an island together, like, I feel like Abby might be like, oh, okay, fine. I guess she would have to leave David. Yeah, I guess you're right. She wouldn't leave David. So you get to the end.
Jake is so dreamy though, so it's just like, all right.
He's so cute. He has gotten better with age. Like him on Felicity.
110%.
Him on Felicity. Yeah, Jennifer Garner, man, you sold your stock in Scott Foley too early. I guess she's with Ben Affleck now. So. I compared Olivia
with Ben Affleck and Batfleck, but let's not get into that.
We should not. Oh, I should say that I did bring that up because I want to say that I made a pretty good Olivia Pope Batman reference. Not really, but I was just like, she's like Batman because now she's like going away and sacrificing herself
she totally is.
Yeah, sweet Batman reference. That's good.
But and also, or she could be Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins because obviously she's going to come back. So when she comes back, she's going to be like this changed woman and have trained with Ra's al Ghul and the League of Shadows, and then she'll actually be Batman.
I know we're joking, but I would watch that show. If Olivia Pope became like a literal ninja, like a literal like fighter, and like just got like a white suit that was like she was a superhero now, I'd be like, fine, I'm in. I'm all in, Scandal.
Chips all in.
Chips all in. So one thing, Mama Pope is nothing if not awesome and like classy, and I loved it when she got pulled over by those troops. She was wearing a dress that was just a shirt, like it was like a super short black dress. When she gets pulled up, I
didn't even notice that because she was wearing a coat.
Yeah, she was wearing a coat over it, but she was wearing like a very skimpy dress under it too, and she looked so hot. I was like, I have literally no idea what your age is because you are just working it. You keep it so tight, and I mean, that's objectifying her, but you know, I'm just gonna say that she looked very nice when she got pulled over by the troop. Harris. So yeah, they haven't been using Harris enough. I really liked.
No, they haven't.
He goes to see Papa Pope. This is the big, like, so now we're at, like, the very end. Big reveal that it was Papa Pope and Secret Agent Tom. I keep saying Secret Agent. Secret Service agent.
Tom.
Not an actual agent. Well, he also is a secret agent, I guess, because he works for B613 too. Killed Jerry with a little, like, injected him with a thing that acted instantly, which is probably not accurate. It probably would not act that instantly.
It wasn't like instantly. Like they got on the stage. We don't know how long Fitz was into a speech.
Okay, I feel like it wouldn't. I feel like it would take days, but I also like have no concept of it. You know, I have no concept of it. Who am I kidding? I'm not a scientist. But
or like an assassin.
Or an assassin. So yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough that it could have been a longer time. And then we find he says also Daddy took care of it, which was disgusting to me. I was like, oh God, your relationship with Olivia is so weird. Yeah. He took my child, so I took his. There's a lot of great lines here. Oh, he's command again.
When he says to Harrison, "Oh, to be young, gifted, and black," and I was like, "Stop it." Stop it with your, like, Nina Simone songs. Like, I love it. I love it so... Because he said young, and then he paused, and I was like, he's going to say gifted and black. But, like, they wouldn't actually say that, but he does.
He totally does, yeah.
He totally does.
That's really funny. He does. Yeah, I thought that was really funny when he said that, too. And it was also such a bummer. Like, if Harrison died, that's a pretty good death scene to be like, oh, to be young, gifted, and black. I thought that was pretty good. I also feel like, I mean, I don't really have any... Like, I've never had any real deep, like, long thoughts about the show and race, but I thought that was kind of an interesting thing to say, you know, that...
Absolutely.
I thought it worked really well in that scene. And I liked that...
Papa Pope's background would be really interesting to see how he actually became command.
Well, yeah, I remember that Shonda Rhimes, for a while, was saying that, like, she wanted to do a B613 spinoff, right? Wasn't that kind of, like...
Yes.
And I remember not really being into it, but you're right. If it was like a prequel, that might be kind of good.
Yeah, if it was like in the 70s,
then they could just use the music that they've been using.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like Vietnam era B613.
That'd be good.
Cool.
That'd be a really good show. I would watch it.
I'd watch that. Yeah.
I also feel like him getting reinstated in command is so annoying because
It's
like
bullshit.
they said that they like finished B613. Wasn't that one of the main arcs of the season? I also felt like it was hilarious that like this like expert computer programmer, all he had to do was like press enter and he was like destroyed B613. Like pretty easy, pretty silly. But so Papa Pope, we find out that he did all these bad things. We find out that he killed an Adnan. R.I.P. Adnan, you were not a big character to me.
No.
And he's got Maya in a hole, which I don't know. She's really interesting, but I don't really know where else they can go with her. So
yeah,
I don't know how I feel like she's probably just done. I feel like they're gonna say that she like kept her in there and then killed her. Fitz wins re-election. Another not really fair election win. I guess to be fair, like this is a fair election because like people voted for him because of emotional things, which is how people vote in general. But like,
right, but it's still like not real.
What do we think happened to Rustin? Like, did he go to jail or did he just like get his character destroyed?
I feel like was that released to the press or was it that released just to him? Because if it was released just to him, then he would have like backed out of the race.
I'm pretty sure it was released. I'm pretty sure I saw it on a TV channel. Like I'm pretty sure they like set it up like it was on TV. Maybe not.
He probably should be going to prison, but like,
will he? We'll see.
I don't know.
God.
Like literally, all the candidates are murderers.
Yeah, it's when Olivia was laughing about that, I was like, "That's the best."
Yeah,
that's so good that's like what's going on. Okay. So then we're basically at the end. This went pretty well. We're at the point where Fitz is gonna be president. He calls up Olivia and like Melly calls up Olivia with him. He's like on the floor, just completely despondent. So and when they showed the like recap, I was like, yeah, he had a pretty bad year. I accept that. He's so like destroyed. Yeah. He had a pretty bad year and he is on the floor. They call Olivia from the White House and she does not pick up, which is like a big thing for her. Even just her being on that plane, it's a big thing for her that like she did not pick up that phone.
Because she almost always does.
I was gonna say that I didn't think that ending was very interesting because it's just like obviously it's a reset. Like obviously she'll come back and I'll be fine. Like it wasn't a cliffhanger. Like a cliffhanger would be like something bad happened and they had to like figure it out. But like it just is so obvious what's gonna happen that like it didn't leave me being like, oh, I need another episode. But when you said that thing,
I guess that's like what a non-cliffhangery season finale should do. Just like, oh, I see where they're going, but like I can wait.
I was gonna say, but I feel like your thing about her being a superhero, I'm pretty into that. So I hope that's what happens.
Yes. Okay, so they left off Harrison at gunpoint, but like I want Harrison to be Command's like protege.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he's not dead. I feel like he's not dead and he is gonna go in that hole too.
Yeah. Oh, in the hole, no.
They love that hole.
In the hole.
That hole is like such a weird concept. Anyway.
Yeah. And then Huck, like, with his wife.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. And I love Jessica Nicole because I was a huge Fringe fan. So I'm really excited to see more of her on Scandal.
Yeah, I thought that story... I'm glad that storyline is, like, coming back. Because I thought that was such a sad episode. And it kind of, like, humanizes Huck in a way that's, like, perfect. And I liked Huck in that episode.
Necessary.
And so necessary because he's so evil. I don't really know. We're getting up to about almost an hour, so I feel like we shouldn't get into, like, super deep thoughts. But I don't really know what I think Scandal's opinion on violence is because they just, like... People get so turned on by it, and they, like, show so much of it. It's kind of a joke for a lot of it. I feel like when they, like, get mad and then start drilling someone, it's a joke, but it's like, this is so off-putting. This
Like,
is so
no,
gross.
it's awful. Yeah, but we'll get into that when we get to those episodes.
That's fair. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So I guess to wrap it up, we can just talk about like the season as a whole and what we feel like how we feel like the finale fit into the season as a whole. Maybe.
Totally.
Um,
What did you think?
I'm trying to think of what the like premiere. I should have looked this up. What happened in the premiere of this episode? So
Well,
you
I think
find out
it
about
started
Papa
off
Pope.
with, oh well, you know already. Okay.
Yeah, it started off with him telling her to get on the plane, and it ended with her
Right.
getting on the plane.
Right.
I don't really know. I guess he just wants her out of the way. The one thing I feel about Papa Pope was that basically what happened was Olivia is he got her on the plane and got her out of the way. But then I liked when he was like, you shouldn't be someone's mistress because like you could be so much more than that.
Yeah.
But she's not going to be so much more than that on an island somewhere. I don't know. I felt like the season was like a lot of just big moments, and I liked that they killed off a character that everyone loved. I do feel like one of the things I do with Scandal, like in my mind, is like compartmentalize things to like accept a character. So like, I think, and that's what I think that like really serious fans don't do, you know? Because I'm going to talk about the Scandal fandom some more, just because I think they're so like intense. Because I really like Melly, because I can just kind of compartmentalize the fact that like in the first season she was kind of like lame and didn't, and kind of like complicit, like fine, have this affair, and so but she became more interesting later on, and I don't know if I can do that with Cyrus anymore, because in season 1 I did. Like the end of season 1 ends with Cyrus just being like the devil. Like I don't remember exactly what happens, but I feel like he was responsible for killing that intern.
He sets up Charlie to kill his husband like multiple times, and then it's just like, nah, don't do it. Never mind.
Like he's such a good actor, and I feel like he's like an older actor. This is gonna sound a little offensive maybe, but like so he's kind of frail looking. So sometimes you get let up on the idea that like, oh yeah, no, he's a literal monster. Like he is terrible.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I still think he's like an interesting character though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, I like love to see what he'll do next. Like I don't want him to die. No. I just want to see what crazy machinations he gets himself into next.
But I will say that sometimes I find myself rooting for him, and then I'm like, oh god, I hate myself. I hate that I'm rooting for him.
I guess that's like.
Oh, go ahead.
Makes him a good character then.
I thought that this was the best season finale of the 3, because I felt like the last one, when you found out that Rowan was her dad, it wasn't like, I don't know, it was a big reveal, but it wasn't like that exciting to me. And then the thing that they do is that they present something in the season finale that you think is going to build an arc for the next season, and then they just kind of solve it more or less in the like first episode, and then like build from there. Like
which is it coming out that Olivia is his mistress.
Yeah, and they like didn't even do it. Oh, I want to mention that I think that if someone said that our president was a baguette, people would be on board for that. Like I don't think that it would be the Watergate.
Oh my god.
When they said that, I was like, they could spin that, like they know he had an affair. They could spin that like baguette mark to a good remark, to like be a good thing. Oh I just thought that was so ridiculous.
Amazing. I actually liked last season finale more.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know, I liked how the reveal of Command being her dad changed the whole way of seeing the season. So you could watch the whole season and not know who this dude is, and then you could go back and watch it and like now you know, and then that just makes the scenes even more potent.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair to say, because you, like, when you rewatch it, you're like, oh, this is crazy thinking about this now.
And what's interesting in this season finale and last one was we see Fitz, like, totally defeated and down. And last season, when he puts his head on Melly's lap, that was actually an act that we learn later. But when he's, like, on his knees in the Oval Office, that's not an act. That's him just totally defeated.
Yeah. totally defeated after winning a presidential election.
Yeah.
I really hate the white people problems meme, like, because I just understand how problematic it was. But when he was like, "Liv, I've never won a presidential election," I was like, this is the definition of white people problems.
Totally.
That he was just so mad that he never won. Like, I was like, yeah, like, you know who hasn't won the presidential election? The majority of humanity. Like, you're
Everyone
fine.
else.
Everyone else. But yeah, so I don't know if I have anything else to say about the season. I thought this was a really good season.
Yeah, strong season.
Pretty strong. I liked the part. I loved all of Jim Morton stuff, Rowan stuff. I thought the stuff about her mom did pretty well. You know, introducing a mom character on a show with a strong female lead is like can go either way. So like on Alias, it was like a very good introduction. I thought it was like a huge like it hugely made the show better and like changed the way the dynamics of. And I also like I think about Alias a lot with like characters like this because I love Sydney and Jack's relationship. Did you watch Alias?
The first couple seasons, yeah.
Okay, so I love Sydney and Jack's relationship and how like crazy and like terrible but also like loving it is, and I always want the father figure to be like Jack and like just be sad but also be like not be sad, just be like terrible and like evil but also really love his daughter, and it made me sad that Joe Morton went off of that. And then also I was thinking about how on Revenge in the first season they like revealed the mother was alive and then they just completely botched that storyline.
I don't even want to talk about Revenge and the mother stuff.
The mother stuff was so bad, and I think that Maya Pope is a really good character. They haven't really, I don't know. I liked all the stuff about her, like because when they revealed that she was bad, I was like, oh, this is like Alias.
You don't really know what her motivations are yet. Even despite, like, her saying, like, oh, I did this for you, and I love you, blah, blah, blah. We really don't know what the truth is. We don't know who she is.
We don't know who she is.
We've seen, like, glimpses, so I think it would be interesting to see more of that next season. And then they could kill her off.
Yeah, they can kill her off pretty soon, though. I'm fine with them killing her off pretty soon. And yeah, I thought that, like, okay, so the Fitz arc this season was... How did he start? Oh, he started
all over the place. It was all fucking over the place.
It was just about him becoming president, I guess, and then.
Well, and then they went to Vermont, and then he's just like, "Oh, I want to be with you, and let's like be the mayor, and you can make jam."
That storyline is so funny to me. Like, I like people's like fantasy relationships that they think they can have. That
like
one's it's just
scandal.
It's just so ridiculous. It's just like...
Well, and then I think the moment that really solidified Fitz's arc for me was when he yelled at Olivia and he's like, I'm talking to my wife!
Oh, yeah.
And that was just like, whoa. This dude still is connected to her. And, like, there's still something within him, despite whatever he says about Vermont, that is preventing him from letting go of that relationship.
Yeah, and the fact that he didn't let her have the affair, like, I thought he would be so on board with that. He'd be like, fine, like, do that. But he was, like, so offended. Like, his pride was so offended. Oh yeah, God. This season's a season where we introduced the Melly rape story, which people had, like, a lot of issues with, but I thought the scene where I thought the rape scene was very traumatic, and, like, I hate those scenes on TV. Like, they're just, because they're just so traumatic. But I thought the scene where she was, like, in the interview seat, and the interviewer was like attacking her basically, and was like, well, do you think it's your fault that he cheated on you and stuff like that? And I was like, this is such a smart commentary on like how women are treated in society now, like how like even the fact that like we found out that Fitz was just like that the whole like world found out that Fitz was cheating, that he like had done all these terrible things, and that they still blamed Melly, like that they still were like, Melly, this is your fault. And you find out like how much she had given up. I thought that was such a good episode. Like people had their issues with it being a rape just because that's such a common storyline, but I just felt like it worked really well in terms of the fact that like Melly has had to like strip so much of herself away to like make room for Fitz in his political career, that like and had to be like, you know, this perfect female like first lady, and that's just not who she is. Like, she's just like a shark, and like if she was a man she would be president, because
he would be president, right?
She's such a shark, and I love her, and I want her to be president. I really was like I hope that when I kind of thought he was gonna lose up until when Jerry died, like, because I was like, I don't know what they can do to make him win, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe he'll lose, and there'll be a time jump, and then they'll like cut to Olivia playing Melly's campaign, and I was like, that was maybe me like building out my fan fiction world.
Totally.
It was just me wishful thinking, but it was what it was. I guess I feel like we're like up at an hour now, so I don't want to bore our audience too much. But this was a lot of fun. And we're
awesome.
and we're gonna go back to the seasons and season 1 and rewatch it, which is a joy. I was rewatching the first episode and I was like, this is so enjoyable.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
I'm gonna play us out on a song.
Nice.
It's kind of like cut in the middle, but I'll just play it anyway.
Okay.
Here we go. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Sarah C. Caldwell.
And I'm at Maricela, Maricela G21.
Great.
Oh, I never got a chance to see him. Never heard nothing but bad things about him. Mama, I'm depending on you to tell me the truth. I looked at my mother and I said, hey, Mama, is it true what they say that Papa never worked a day in his life?